Hi, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about requirements traceability matrix. So, what is requirements traceability matrix? So, it's a document that tracks the project status, its coverage, at how many test cases are involved, and what we say defects. Everything is covered in requirement traceability matrix. So, requirement traceability matrix is a document, as I said earlier, it's a document which tracks the whole project by uniting the user stories with the test cases. So, you might think how it would unite the test cases and the requirement test cases and the user stories. Okay, as I was telling earlier, like in the past few videos, like I was telling in the past few videos, like every user story has tasks, okay, and every user story has test cases designed, okay. So, requirement traceability matrix maps these user stories and the test cases that we have designed, okay. And while executing the test cases, what do we get? We get the bugs. Those are also called as defects. So, requirement traceability matrix maps the user stories to test cases, to the environments in which they are executed, and the defects that we have logged till the date. And based on all these, the coverage story, story coverage would be, or the project coverage would be known. I'll show you how it happens. Okay, I have designed a small Excel sheet for our understanding purposes. Before going to the Excel sheet, I'll show you some few things here. Coverage is the overall coverage. Okay, here you see coverage status. So this coverage status means coverage of the whole user stories. Okay. Next, for every I have been telling you task, right? So test designing status is decided on the based on the task ID that was created. Test execution is also based on the task ID that was created for test execution. Bugs or sub bugs will have the bug IDs. Okay, as I was mentioning earlier, epic and user stories will have their own epic and user IDs, user story IDs. Okay, now we will see each and every point and we will understand how this traceability matrix actually works. Okay, see, here is the document that I have developed for the basic understanding how it actually consists of every detail of the project. So in this example I have taken 4 user stories, user story 1, 2, 3 and 4, and each user story is having a description. First one is a user authentication, second story is email notification, third story is WhatsApp notification, fourth story is SMS notification. Okay, now coming to test designing status. Let's say for user authentication the test cases are designed already, so the status would be completed. Okay, generally it will not be completed, it will be closed. Okay, and second story is email notification. For that also we have closed the task, because email notification also we have designed the test cases. But for WhatsApp notification, test case designing status is in progress, because it indicates we are still in progress to develop or design the test cases. Okay, fourth one, SMS notification. If you could see, I have mentioned the status as to do. What is this to do status? To do status is, till now we did not pick up that user story to design the test cases. Okay, now we'll go row by row. For each and every row I'll explain the next statuses. Okay, so first is the user authentication. In that we have designed the test cases, so the status is closed. We have given the test case ID as test case ID 01. Okay, So for test case ID, for test cases also we will have the IDs generated. Generally, if we use Jira tool, so in Jira tool, this test case ID will be generated automatically when we click on create new test cases and give some few details. Okay. So test case ID, let's say system has generated TC01. Okay. Then comes is the test case description. What is the test case description here? So the test case description indicates to allow user to log into application with valid credentials. Okay. User authentication is a story description, but test case description is we want to allow user only when he has a valid credentials. Okay, based on that description, we are going to based on this user story, we are going to design or develop the test cases, or we have already designed or developed the test cases. Next is the user tester. Let's say GHI is a tester name or tester ID. He has designed the test cases. Okay, so now here we need to track the UAT status also. UAT or pre-live. What is this UAT or pre-live? It is a user acceptance testing. It's an environment where we will be testing the user acceptance, like the data in it, the test data that we use in UAT or pre-live is almost equal to the live data, that is the production data or the client's data. So for every user story, for most of the user stories, I will say yes for UAT. Okay. Next comes is the test execution part. So here if you see, we have three different environments. So these three are the environments. Okay, I'll just highlight in some other color for our understanding. So these three are the environments: QA, UAT, and prod. QA is where we testers test the test cases and the application. UAT is here most probably the QA team or the project managers or leads would test the application with the data that is almost equal to live data. Okay. Production is where the client uses the application. Okay. Now in QA, the user authentication with the valid credentials has passed. Without the valid credential, it is displaying the error or some validations which is actually valid. So it is a pass. In UAT also it is pass. In prod also client is able to log into his application. So log into the application. So it's a pass. So when these are pass indicates the application or the user authentication is working as expected. So it's a pass. Then when it is a pass, there are no defects. Okay, there are no defects. See, there are no defects. Let's say there are defects. Okay, as I mentioned, no here. Let's say there are defects, and defect ID is DF1. Okay, give me 1 minute. DF1 is the defect ID. So okay, defects we have said, right. Let's say defects are identified and it's a yes. Okay, but defect ID is some DF1. Okay, it's for our understanding that I am giving here DF1. In general, these defect IDs are also generated by the system. Okay, now what is the status? It's a closed. It means there were issues, but they were fixed and they were closed. So once the defects were closed, user story is also working fine, then the coverage status is done. What is this done? Done means for that particular user story, defects were identified, they were fixed, user story is working fine, development is done, testing is completely done, and everything is completely done for that user story, then the coverage status is done. Okay, done means done indicates it is completed. Next is the next user story is the test case 02. Okay, so sorry, next user story is the user story 2, that is email notifications. Okay, I have taken these examples just for our understanding. Okay. So in these email notifications, if you see, test case designing status is closed. We have generated the test case ID as well, TC02, and the description is to receive email notifications. Now, if you see the tester, we have given the tester UAT is required. Here it's C. QA is fail, and UAT and prod are still to do because it's a fail in QA itself. So when it's a fail in QA, we did not give the bill to UAT and product. We cannot give the bill to UAT and production. So once it's fixed in QA and it's closed, then only the build goes to next environments. Here it's a fail. Why it's a fail? Because there were some issues. Okay, there were some issues or some defects were identified. That's the reason it's a fail. Here we say defect status is we got the defects. Yes. Do we have the defect IDs? Yes, we have the defect IDs. I'll say DF0123, DF0456, 056, etc. I'll just mark it in a wrap text so that we'll see all the IDs. Now the defect status is in progress. Why it is in progress? Because it is being fixed by the developer. Once it is fixed, then only we will retest it, and then if it is a close, we will close, or else it will be reopened. Okay. Now both we have given two defect IDs and it is in progress. So what would be the coverage status here? Coverage status would be waiting on dependency. Why it is a waiting on dependency? Because there are bugs and those bugs needs to be fixed. Once they are fixed, then we will retest the bugs and we will close it, and then we will run one round of testing on the user story, and then if everything works fine, then it would be closed and the coverage status would be done. Okay, this is the second story. Hope you are understanding this, guys. Third one is the WhatsApp notification. If you could see here, test case designing is in progress. Okay, we have given the test case ID. So when the test case designing is in progress, it means we have already started the test case designing. So we will generate a test case ID also. Now, test case description. What is this test case description? Test case description is to receive WhatsApp notifications. But the tester has mentioned UAT is required, but testing is not yet started in any environment because it's in to do. Why it is in to do? It's because we have not yet completed the test case designing itself. How will we go ahead and test the application? We cannot. Okay, once the test case designing is completed, then we will go for the testing part. But here if you see in this story, test case designing is not yet completed. It's in progress. So we cannot test the application. Okay, why we cannot test the application? It's because for every test cases that we run, for every bug we identify, we need to link it up to the test case. Okay, we need to link it up to the test case. We need to provide the test case ID. Hence, we cannot start the testing until unless that is the test case designing is completed. Because even if we log the bug, we will get it. Definitely, will at some or the other point. Definitely, will get the question: where is the test cases for this particular bug? And we will not have any answer. Now you might think, I'll log a bug first, then I'll design the test cases. Once the test cases are designed, I'll link it up. I'll tell you a part. See, you have logged the bug. Okay, you have logged the bug successfully. You did not provide the test case ID, but it was assigned to developer. He has fixed it. But at the while fixing, he will ask you a test case ID. Where is the what is the test case ID? But by the time he asked you the test case ID, you did not design the test cases. You are still in progress. What would you do? Will you be able to provide him the test case ID? No. Even though if you provide the test case ID, now you might ask, I am still in progress, right? I'll give the test case ID. Yeah, you will give the test case ID. Let's say the bug you have logged, for that you did not write the test step yet. What will you do? How will you show him or her that this is the part where it got failed? You cannot. So test case designing is important first. First step is test case designing, then only we need to go to the testing part. Okay, so that if someone asks to show the test step or test case ID, we can give him the test case ID and we can tell him that so and so step has a issue. Okay, next, do we have a defects here? No. Why it is an NA? Because we did not start the testing yet. Once we start the testing, we will find the defects. Once we find the defects, we will have the defect ID. Once we have a defect ID, we will know the progress. Got it? Now, coverage is ready for coverage status is ready for testing. Why it isn't ready for testing? Because development team has completed their part. It's only the testing team that needs to design the test cases and start the testing. That's the reason it's a ready for testing status. Okay. Now I'll give you next one. It's a SMS notification. Here also, if you see, we did not start the test cases itself. Let's say we did not start the test cases. So status in to do. Do we have a test case ID? No. Why we do not have the test case ID? Because we did not start the test cases. So we cannot decide what test case ID to be provided. Okay. So the description is to receive SMS notifications. A tester is there. UAT is required. As usual, test case execution isn't to do because we did not start the test cases only. Test case designing is not yet started. How will we run the testing part? We cannot. Okay. Here also same. Okay. Now I will give you another part. Okay. I will give you another user story. Okay. Fifth one. Let's say it as US 5, user story 5, and this is related to contact page. Contact page. Okay. Test case designing completed or it's closed. We have the test case ID as TC05 and description is to display contact information. Okay. Let's say JKL is the tester. It's also required in UAT. Now here is it's a fail. Okay, or let's say it's a pass here.